back. So I got this really great question from a viewer. Even though he's a beginner and yeah, he's starting out playing guitar for the first time, he knows his stuff and he asked a really good question. I'm going to read his question here for you guys. His email starts off like this. Hey Justin, I was watching your videos on YouTube and I had a question. Guitars don't usually go by brands where I live, and even if they did, they'd be super expensive. So if I'm going in blind, to buy a guitar, an acoustic guitar, what should I look for and or avoid generally? Wow! Mind blown, baby! This guy, you asked a great question, and here is my answer. A lot of you are leaving comments on my videos, especially that cheap versus expensive guitar, saying, oh my god, that's $300, it's not cheap, I can buy a guitar for $40, and all that shit. In reality, there is a very big difference between cheap and crappy. And you don't want to buy or invest in a crappy guitar, my friend. Okay, what's the difference between cheap and crappy? Well, a cheap guitar gives you a decent return on investment, okay? So if you spend $300, you're going to get a decent guitar to practice, to work on your skills, to build a sound, and to put in the work that's involved day in and day out doing these activities. And then you save up your money and you can buy a better guitar, and transfer those skills that you've built up right here onto the next guitar. Whereas if you have a crappy guitar, it's just gonna ruin your progress from day one. A crappy guitar that costs like $30, that's made in China, and everything falls apart, it sounds like shit, and plays like shit, and it feels like shit, it's going to deter you from going on and on and on every day, putting in the time that's involved to practice. And it has happened to me before. When I had a shitty guitar, it just really held me back and it really slowed my progress down, and it stopped me from practicing day in and day out. It was not an incentive for me to practice because, first of all, it hurt my fingers when I played it. It sounded shitty, and it was just not for me. If you're gonna buy a crappy guitar for say $20, $30 or whatever, my friend, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Now, the guy who has a cheap guitar is going to progress way better than you are, okay? So it's up to you if you want to invest in a cheap guitar or a crappy guitar. Cheap guitar is not crappy, alright? This is a cheap guitar, okay? You've seen this guitar many times in my previous videos. And I bought this guitar for the reason that I just want a guitar that I can practice and pick up at home after a long day, and I don't have to worry about banging it or hurting it or whatever because it's a cheap guitar and I don't have to worry about that. A cheap guitar will cost you around $300, okay? In my country, Canada, 300 Canadian dollars will get you something like this. And this is a used guitar that I got off Craigslist. And I just souped it up. I just took it to a guitar shop, added nice strings, got it set up properly. And if you want to know how to do those things, buy a guitar on Craigslist or get your guitar set up. Check out these other videos, links to them. I'll leave them down below for you to check out, and it will show you the way, okay? And my investment right here, it's gonna last me a whole lot of love time. It's gonna last me for quite a while. Now, going back to his question, like what should I look for in a guitar store? If I'm completely blind, I don't know any brands, I've never heard of a Fender or a Gibson or a Yamaha, or I don't know exactly what to shop for. But you have a price in mind, right? And that price is $300. Well, you're not gonna get a nice looking acoustic guitar for that price range, in my opinion, new. in a guitar store. You're better off searching on Craigslist or going through the used guitar ads online or in your newspaper. I recommend you buy a used guitar first. It's just like getting a dog, okay? You don't want to get a brand new puppy, you want to adopt a dog, okay? Because the adopted dog has the life experience to know that it should appreciate its master compared to a spoiled fucking puppy. So here are my suggestions. When I shop for a guitar, when I look for a guitar, I usually have 3 things that I look for. 3 things I look for in a guitar are the look, the feel, and the sound. That's it. The look, the feel, and the sound. The look of the guitar, does it look nice? Does it catch my eye? The feel of the guitar, does it feel good in my hands when I play it? And the sound of the guitar, does it sound good to my ears? If a guitar checks all 3 of these boxes, then I am ready to make a purchase. Now, the 4th criteria is usually price. Usually those really, really nice guitars are about $1,000 and up. But sometimes I run into a guitar that I totally love that has no famous brand attached to it or affiliation, and I just want to buy it and it's cheap. So this is what led me to this guitar. It's just like, you know, a girl that you're attracted to. You've got to be attracted to the guitar that you're prepared to buy. When you're in a guitar store, look around and see which guitar catches your eye, okay? That should be the first criteria. Second criteria is the feel of guitar. So now that you've picked a guitar out of all these other guitars on the wall or online, okay, the next stage is putting it in your hands, okay? You will not know if it's right for you until you do that. Make sure that you put your fingers all around the guitar. Just have sex with it, okay? You put it in your hands and you test it out, right? You play chords, you start playing or fiddling around. And you'll know right away about 80 to 90% feeling that this feels good in my hands. Maybe the strings sound shitty, maybe the string action is not up to par, right? Those things you can tweak easily, alright? So 80 to 90% feeling like, yeah, it feels good in your hands. You'll know, my friend, okay? It's the feeling, okay? Just like when you're around a girl, you both have to vibe, okay? You have to have the same, okay, energy and feed off each other. And that's what a great guitar should be. Not every guitar is made for every person, just like every person's not made for every person. If you get what I mean. Too big, too small, too uncomfortable, too heavy, whatever, okay? This is the reason why I don't like Gibson Les Pauls, because I put it in my hands and right away I knew that it was too heavy, too bulky, and just not for me. And it looked nice. It checked the first criteria, but the second criteria, no, it didn't pass the test. So that's why I never play Les Pauls. So there you go. That's why I stick to Fenders. Now the final criteria is the sound. Okay? Now every guitar you should be listening to what a D minor sounds like, what a G sounds like, what a C chord sounds like, what it feels like when you're playing scales, right? All of these things factor in because you're going to be spending a ton of time, many, many hours with this guy. So you might as well enjoy the way it sounds. And if it doesn't sound the way you want it, then it's not for you. I really have a soft spot for bright sounding guitars. So that's why usually, you know, I like picking up Taylor guitars or Korg guitars. Because they have a very bright sound. Whereas Gibson, I have to say this again, whereas Gibson acoustics, they have a very muddy and very dark sound, and it doesn't match my personality. My voice is very high, like Adam Levine. Ah, yeah. And I want an instrument that complements my characteristics. So, bright sound, bright voice, bright guitar. Yeah. So, That's why I like this guitar. It matches my style and my voice. So those are the 3 criteria that I look for when I buy a guitar. It's the look of the guitar. Does it look sexy? The feel of guitar. Does it feel good in my hands? Does it feel good on my body? And the sound of the guitar. Does it sound good in my ears, to my ears? Does it match my voice? Does it match my style of music? Those 3 criteria will pretty much get you a pretty good guitar, in my opinion, every time, okay? And if you have any questions about what I talked about here in this video, please leave them down below. And subscribe to this YouTube channel where I will play some more guitar for you and answer more of your guitar-related questions, okay? By the way, I've noticed that most of the people asking questions to me lately are new guitar players, and I noticed that most of them lack a certain kind of foundation. So I'm considering of making a guitar instructional course for beginners, which will help you get the foundation right, and eventually it will lead you to the path of playing your favorite songs or playing whatever song you want to learn. If you're interested in such a product, please let me know what you think and what you would like in this kind of course that I'm considering, okay? I'd like to hear from you, and as always, take care and I love you.